All right, I think we're going live right now. Zach, good to see you again on this. What is this week three?
Week
No,
four.
week four
Wow.
for the NFL. And boy, last week, can you imagine that trip home for the Baltimore Ravens from London after that 44-7 shellacking over the Jacksonville? I mean, who would have ever thought that? Can you just, I mean, just go back 2 months ago if you had to make the line yourself? You know, you see, all right, Jacksonville's playing the Ravens. What do you think the score will be? Certainly not 44-7. So
No.
I really, maybe you can talk about what happened over there because I didn't watch it or I didn't get up early. But anyway,
I watched a little bit because early in the mornings on Sundays, I'm focusing on getting my fantasy football lineups in. So I was watching a little bit on Yahoo before I was getting ready to go to the sports book here in Vegas. But, it just looked like one of those games. That's why they play these London games. You never know what's going to happen. It's kind of like playing college basketball in conference play. You don't know what's going to happen when you cross overseas over there. Um, you can be it can be a real low scoring game, or teams get behind and all of a sudden it's like they can't do anything. They go on autopilot, shut down, and that's what it looks like what happened with Baltimore.
well, another thing, isn't Jacksonville more of the favorite for the fans over there because they're always rumored that they're going to be the ones that move over there. So maybe the people in London have already are cheering for them one way or the other.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know they've been going. They usually send the Jacksonville Jaguars for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And this is one of they're 2-1 right now. So I just read that this is the first time that they've been favored on the road, and who knows how long. So the game we're getting ready to discuss.
Yes. In fact, let's mention that right now. Jacksonville's going up to New York to play the Jets, and last week Blake Bortles, he finally looked like a quarterback from, and I'm only going by the stats, but 4 touchdown passes. He had 3 of them. He finally got Mercedes Lewis as tight end into the mix. And Lewis had 4 catches for just 62 yards. Not a lot. It's not like he was hitting home runs or anything, but Bortles completed 20 of 31 for 244, which is not a lot of yardage. 4 touchdowns, no picks, so he did well. But let me tell you something that I really think. He came out with so far he's got a 94 quarterback rating. But I think what's happening is this LSU running back, the rookie Leonard Fournette. This guy, I hear he just hits you and just it's like an explosion as you go backwards. And boy, that could really be shaking up some people on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, when you can go into Houston and hit those defensive guys and come out of there with that type of win, and then do the same thing to a great Baltimore defense, I mean, I really think it's more about Fournette than anybody else. Uh, the Jets, wow, another good defensive that they've been playing. I think what was their over and under 4 wins for the season, I believe, and that could be a stretch. And then right before the season start, what do? They trade Sheldon Richardson. But you know what? That might have been a blessing because from everything I've ever heard, he's a pain in the neck. And really, people don't need Richardson. And then look, he goes to Seattle, and look what Seattle's done. They're 1-2. Maybe he is a pain in the neck. I don't think that they've done anything magical because they got him. Sunday, the Jets, they held Miami to just 30 yards rushing on 15 carries. I mean, come on, that's what, 2 yards per carry? And you would think, well, if they're not rushing the ball, maybe that's because Jay Cutler is throwing the ball. No, I don't think so. So I'm not so sure that this was a victory that we can just chalk up to some superior play from the Jets or just a really dismal outing for Miami Dolphins. I think that's where I'm going to head. And I'll tell you why. The Jets, they're allowing 348 yards per game, of which 133 yards is on the ground. I think that's going to spell trouble. They haven't been that dominant, even in their losses. With Oakland, they lost 45-20, Buffalo 21-12. So, I just don't think the Jets are really there, even though they played well last week. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to look and see. Meanwhile, Jacksonville, they're 4-0 against the spread the last 4 games, 5-1 against the spread against the last 6 against the AFC. So chalk me up that the Jacksonville Jaguars probably got awakened that the Jets just beat Miami, so maybe they're going to watch that game film a couple times instead of just say, hey, we're playing the Jets, let's just get on a train and go up there. I think they're really going to pay attention to this game because this is a very, very winnable game. And if you want to make yourself, you don't go up to New York and lose to the Jets. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 3.5, Zach.
From this game, I don't think I'll talk about the point spread. There's two teams that I would be really iffy on touching this week. On both sides, I thought about it, and it's a good line. Sometimes those lines are so sharp in the NFL that you got to stay away and look at other options. So I'll discuss another option on a prop in this game. But you look at Jacksonville. Like you said, they went to Houston. Let's not forget about that. They went to Houston, won. Then they got spanked by their division rivals, Tennessee, at home. They traveled to London. Now they come back to the States and go to New York. So that's a lot of travel right there. But then you look at the Jets, same thing. They played at home, got killed by the Buffalo Bills, traveled all the way to California, played the Oakland Raiders, got killed there, and they fly back to New York. And so this is back-to-back home week for them. But Miami didn't have a game plan last week. They were adjusting going to London after they played in California. So that was a good point there, Hollis, that Miami really wasn't unveiling much last week. You got a defensive-minded head coach in Todd Bowles that used his strength to shut down the Dolphins in that game. Jacksonville, let's not forget they have Doug Marrone on their staff, who was a former AFC East coach for the Buffalo Bills, Syracuse Orangemen coach in upstate New York for a bunch of years before that. So he's got some knowledge about those New York Jets. So he might have that team a little bit more prepared. But whenever you're ready, this is one of those games. Jacksonville has been in this position before. They're 2-1. Whenever they're ready to take that leap to go to 3-1 or have some type of strength, what do, Hollis?
Oh, they just dropped the ball.
Yeah, they dropped the ball. So I'm not gonna, even though it looks like a good play, I can't say it. But I will say I do like what Blake Bortles is doing. He's taking a lot of criticism from myself, past couple of years. And Jacksonville really had too much weight on his shoulders as young of a quarterback as he is and that talented AFC. They toned it down with him. And right now he's just not making the mistakes. Maybe they'll come back to fruition later in the year if they get a running back injury or whatnot. But right now they got a great defense, good running backs, talented wide receivers, and Blake Bortles is playing mistake-free football. So I think you look at that prop, it's usually between 1.5 and 2 interceptions. I think you look at the prop and take that under on his interceptions, and they play safe football in New York.
Well, he's finally getting that balance that he needs with Leonard Fournette. So, that's always going to help. They use the run to set up the pass, and that's what you're supposed to do. And, let me give a little shout out to the Jets offense a little bit. Everybody's been screaming about this veteran quarterback, Josh McCown. He's not so bad. I mean, he manages the game all right. 18 of 23 last week for 249 yards. He's been hooking up with Robbie Anderson. But, another thing, their defense, Demario Davis and Buster Crine, these guys have really been getting into the trenches and getting their stops. So, it is going to be a very difficult game. Me, personally, I just like to always have an opinion, and that forces me to pick a side. And I just don't think that other than maybe Miami was looking ahead, and that's when the Jets caught them off balance. But if you look at what they did with Buffalo and what they did with Oakland, they might not be ready for Jacksonville. And like I said before, that win that the Jets had last week has to awaken everybody on the Jacksonville team as they fly up there. I can already hear the coach, hey, don't get caught sleeping like Miami did. Let's get in there, get the win. Let's don't drop the ball. Let's go to 3-1, and let's win this division, and it's very winnable. So that's it, and we'll see you in week this is week 4, so week 5 next week. Man, it goes too fast.
Yes, it does.
Anyway, thanks for viewing this, and if you need me or anything, let me put this up one last time. It's if you got to get a hold of me or Wayne or somebody like that, jbplayslv6@gmail.com. So get a hold of me and give a little shout out to where they can get a hold of you, Zach. Do you have a private anything?
Yeah, just go to my website. Information is in detail on there, notjustagame.com, or follow me on Twitter @Cimini.
Okay, real good, and good luck on your bets this week, and we'll be talking to everybody next week.